All right, well, good morning, and I'm looking at the Chem 111 lab kit. I'm wearing the extremely fashionable and comfortable goggles as supplied by Science Interactives and the gloves. The safety equipment comes with it, and I have set up the workspace that I'm going to be using here. I've got a couple of rulers out because I know people are concerned about this. It's less than 24 by 24 is a workspace I need for this entire set of reactions. And I'm going to do the particular lab that is observations of chemical changes. So to do this, we've got all of the chemicals come in the bags that come with it. I have phenolphthalein, I have some ammonium hydroxide, I have starch, I have potassium iodide. So we've got lots of chemicals here, and we're just going to do observations of the chemical changes following the lesson plan that is in the Science Interactives lab. So to start this one out, looking at the instructions for the chemical reactions lab, we've got a set of well plates. They're very clearly labeled as to which cell, which plate or hole they are in. And so we're going to start and follow the instructions. So the first thing I'm going to do is take some sodium bicarbonate, and I have 1 molar sodium bicarbonate. Ask us to look at what it looks like when we put them into our container, and I'm going to put in 4 drops. And when I've done that, I'm going to notice that it's a clear liquid. I'm going to record those observations in the data table. It then says to take and add some hydrochloric acid. I have 1 molar hydrochloric acid, and I'm going to take and add some of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the observations. So here, I'm going to take and add the hydrochloric acid. It asks us to stir it with a toothpick and record the observation. So I'm going to note that it's going to fizz. We're going to be asked to write the balanced reaction for that. We've also got some other things we're going to be doing. We can take and put some hydrochloric acid in one of these containers, and then we're going to be looking at phenolphthalein and seeing how phenolphthalein works as an indicator. So I have some phenolphthalein. I'm going to put a couple of drops of my phenolphthalein, or 1 drop, excuse me, into my well, and notice that there is indeed no reaction. I'm going to then take some sodium hydroxide, which I also have. So I have my 1 molar sodium hydroxide, and I'm going to take and I'm going to put it into one of the wells on the spot plate. And so this is what they will be doing. This will be supervised. Again, Transfer VA requires that we have 8 wet supervised labs. So we can do this on Zoom, which I've done. I'll show you pictures at the end. I'm going to take my phenolphthalein here, and I'm going to add a little bit to my sodium hydroxide and see what has occurred. And we've noticed here immediately that it has changed our color and gotten a very bright pink. We can also observe precipitation reactions as we do this. So continuing with our chemicals, I have a little bit of silver nitrate, and I'm going to put a couple of drops of silver nitrate into one of these. And I'm going to take and add a little bit of my sodium hydroxide. And again, our job when we do this will be to write our observations as we take and we do this, and then to write the balanced reaction for this. So if I take a look at my reaction here for my silver nitrate, I see the brown precipitate there in that well as I'm going through and doing that reaction. So these are observations of chemical changes. Now, we also have a heat source, so I'm going to light that up, and we're going to do this as well. Our heat source is this. It lasts for a couple of hours. It gets really quite hot. There's instructions, of course, and safety instructions. So before you did anything, you would do your complete set of safety training. And I'm going to go ahead and light this, and then we're going to start the next part. Okay, so I managed to get that lit. Getting it lit is not that straightforward. It takes a fair while to get it lit. It certainly is not going to be a conflagration in your kitchen or your room or wherever it is you're going to be working with this. So I've got my nice flame. So we're going to go to the next part of the experiment here, which is on combustion. So if you're going through the lessons in that demo site, you can follow along with me, and we're just going to heat some things up. So one, they say to take a little piece of magnesium. And so your magnesium comes in a little bag. You're going to get some tweezers to go with it. And we're going to heat this in 2 different fashions. We're going to heat this in a test tube, and we're going to heat it over the flame. When we heat this in the test tube, we're going to find that we don't get a lot of oxygen for this combustion, and we're going to get very different products here than when we heat it in an open flame. So small amounts, again, like you would do in the lab. And here they give complete instructions on how to use the test tubes, how to use the heat, how to hold it. At one point when you're actually burning the magnesium, they recommend that you're going to wear sunglasses. So it is very similar to what you might do for a chemical reactions lab as you do it in your lab space. I'm going to stop there as you know what the reaction will be. Again, this is hot, but it is not so hot that this reaction becomes instantaneous. So here I clearly have some start of a visible chemical reaction as we have a bit of a color change on my piece of magnesium.